This is the Jaguar I-Pace. I drove this when it came out a few years ago. I think it was about 3. We actually went to the F1 track in Portugal and drove it around the track for a whole day. I was pretty impressed then, and it was one of the very first electric cars to come out in this new wave, this new revolution of electric cars. Then it was impressive, but with all these new vehicles coming out, I sort of forgot all about it. It's about the same size as an EV6 or a Hyundai Ioniq 5, but it's about $70,000, and that's after Jaguar have just dropped the price. They've refreshed a lot of the technicals in this vehicle, and I have to tell you, it's extremely surprising. And for $70,000, I'm seriously reconsidering this vehicle. It's amazing to drive. You want to know how amazing? Well, let's get in and show you. Now, although the vehicle is supposed to get about 257 miles on a single charge, I've been getting about 230 miles on a single charge, and that is the one portion of this vehicle that's the downside, because most vehicles in the class here are getting somewhere around 300 miles in the class. Now, it is all-wheel drive, but it has the driving dynamics of a Jaguar. And by the way, if you say Jaguar, you need a good slap because it's Jaguar. Now, this vehicle is fun. And when I say fun, they have made sure the driving dynamics are second to none when you get behind the wheel. Just check out some of this. The 394 horsepower will get you from a standstill to 60 miles an hour in just 4.5 seconds. That's faster than the 2022 Porsche Taycan Turismo, and a whole second faster than the Audi Etron Quattro for 2022, which starts at a similar price. Well, behind the wheel, it's pretty much the same as I remember it, almost. But the first thing is the infotainment system. Wow, it got a lot better. Pivi-Pro is Jaguar's infotainment system, and it is fast. It is much better than the previous generation, and the screen is nice and crisp and bigger, and there's not a lot of complex buttons. I have to say that is the first improvement. And the sound, well, that is the sound this vehicle makes, and it was done by the same guy that made the sounds for the movie Judge Dredd, and it's one of the best parts of driving this vehicle. So, some of the facts about the Jaguar I-Pace. Officially, it starts around $70,000, but we found them as low as $61,000 in dealer advertisements. In the city, it'll get 80 miles per gallon equivalent, and on the highway, 72 miles a gallon equivalent. It has a 90 kilowatt-hour lithium-ion battery that takes about 1.5 hours to charge on a 440-volt charging system. That's usually level 2. One of the things that this vehicle can do, I've never seen any other vehicles do in its class, is it can ford water that comes up about 10 inches onto the side of the vehicle, which I think is pretty outstanding. Not many of the other vehicles can do that in its class. The other thing is, this vehicle is pretty outstandingly fast. It can canyon carve. Now, weighs about 4,500 pounds, but it is fast. Its driving modes here are pretty spectacular. From eco, you can go into the comfort, and then into the dynamic mode. And in dynamic mode, all the gauges change to red, and this is where you can actually have a little fun with the vehicle. In dynamic mode, I've been driving it, let me say dynamically, that would be the word, through some twisty turnies, and it can keep up with some of the best sports cars in its class. It's fast.
After becoming the first premium manufacturer to enter the FIA's Formula E Championship in 2016, Jaguar has created the world's first production battery electric vehicle race series, and the I-Pace leads the pack.
On the interior, the craftsmanship is absolutely Jaguar from top to bottom. A perfect vehicle for anybody who is considering a luxury drive, 0 to 60 in 4.5 seconds. And I have to tell you that I paid $70,000 for the electric car that I'm driving. Perhaps I should have considered the Jaguar I-Pace. The quietness of the drive is something that I miss in many of the electric cars that are on the road today. Plus, having the maps available on the gauges in front of me when I'm driving is one of the features that is not available in many of the vehicles that I am driving out of the press fleet these days. Gotta tell you, I think Jaguar with their updates have absolutely nailed this vehicle, and reconsidering the Jaguar I-Pace is something that I am now doing. Now the plus is that dealers actually have these in stock right now, and the I-Pace is a good value for money. One of the things you have to remember is it's about $10,000 more than some of the competitive set, but it is a luxury vehicle. It is a Jaguar, and you are getting a full luxury interior. The other thing to consider is the inside of this car is the same size as the Jaguar XJ. Now that means there's a lot of space on the interior.
I'm Nick Miles.